All right, welcome to Off the Leash, another episode from myself, Ashley Holder, Leah Doherty, OBR's Fred Greetham, and Mark Schwab. The Browns going into their second week of interviews. Listen, it has already been jam-packed. Nobody knows who the Browns are going with. Jim Schwartz, confirmed by the team, went again on Monday. Tuesday will be Ravens OC Todd Monken, and Wednesday will be former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. And then Thursday or Friday, we're looking at Jaguars OC Grant Udinski, and then Chargers DC Jesse Minter. And then the following week, we're looking at Nate Scheelhaus from the Rams passing game coordinator, who the Rams are currently still in the playoffs. So that's one's going to be kind of, I feel like, a shaky one, figuring out when he goes. But what's our thoughts right now, guys? Because these are all second interviews, so it sounds like the team is leaning towards one of these guys.
More second interviews than I thought. Normally it feels like only 2 or maybe 3 guys get second interviews, or up to 6. I don't think Schwartz surprises anybody. He's already here. But some of the others, I mean, talk about doing the due diligence and leaving no stone unturned, and certainly doing that. I am a little surprised some of these guys, will agree to a second interview. I don't know how attractive of a position this is, but if you're Udinski or Scheelhaus or somebody like that and you want to be a head coach, maybe you take a shot. I'm a little surprised Monken wants to talk with them again, but I do think that's good. This is good for the Browns, that there does seem to be a field of interest for them. You look at there's 6 teams now that need a coach: Browns, Cards, Ravens, Bills, Raiders, Steelers. The Browns are probably at least in the back half of that, maybe dead last. We know the Bills and Ravens are more attractive positions. The Steelers are a more attractive position. The Raiders have the first pick in the draft. You can point to the Mendoza kid and say he's on the way. So that could be deemed as a more attractive position. Cardinals, depending on what you think of Kyler Murray and their crew. Browns, what you think of Myles Garrett and that crew. They're one of the worst jobs open. I'm surprised they have this much interest, but I think it's good for them.
Yeah, I think that, the jobs, the latest jobs that become available seem to be the most attractive, the Steelers, the Ravens, now the Bills. And so if you're the Browns, from one aspect, I think you kind of want to move before if the sights are set, by these other teams, that you might lose somebody you want. So I still feel they're trying to put this puzzle together. Can they thread the needle of Jim Schwartz with an up-and-coming, big-time offensive coordinator or potential without him going somewhere else, or vice versa? Can you keep Jim Schwartz? Would he stay if you go with the head coach as an up-and-coming? So it's like, I think that's what they're kind of trying to feel out right now. But I'm still sticking with, I believe they will hire Jim Schwartz when it's all said and done.
I think it would be so fascinating if you hired Udinski and you had the pairing of him and Jim Schwartz somehow sticks around. Like, they must really be impressed by this guy. I mean, the fact that he's an OC at 30, and I think he recently turned to 30.
January 12th.
That's insane. So there must be something in this guy to where they're wowed by him and they're giving him a second interview. Has he interviewed other places? That's not something I've looked at.
I know other teams have interest. I don't know if he's actually interviewed.
Fred, do you know if he's gotten second interviews?
I don't think for head coach, but yeah, he's drawing interest, around. He's, somehow they all got the same pool. Every year there's a whole new group, and they're always
roughly the same guys.
Right. And then next year, there'll be a little, but it's a whole new batch of new guys. It's fascinating the way they all kind of are in the same circles. Yeah. But no, I do think that it just seems like that's a big leap to just take somebody that's never even called plays to run the whole show. And that's why I think they like him. And maybe can you get him to work with Jim Schwartz in that fashion? So we'll see. You can make him assistant head coach, kind of like they did with Bubba Ventrone. And even though he's offensive coordinator, it's kind of a promotion.
It's still a step up. That would be fascinating for me to see. So I don't know.
Udinski. If you're Udinski,
he would be if hired, he would be the youngest coach in the NFL.
I think it would draw excitement going back to your true false.
One thing that would be interesting though with that though is because the Browns did hire Andrew Berry when he was only 32. So it's not like they don't like, seeing this young and upcoming talent. It's not like they couldn't do that the same. But then again, if they hired him, yes, if I'm Schwartz, I'm out. I'm not staying here. Like, that's just one way
If
I would
you
look at
have
it.
management too that's very hands-on and you want to bring in a head coach that's just gonna roll with the punches and do what you say, then you might want to go with a younger coordinator and bring him in too. And you talk about the Browns job not being very attractive, but maybe to a young coordinator, like that's someone that would genuinely be very excited to come here.
One thing I have heard is that the Browns do like Mike McDaniel, but again, it's not an attractive job. And from what I'm hearing is that McDaniel probably will take another head coaching job before he comes to Cleveland. That's what I'm hearing, that they really do like him and his offensive mindset, but they don't think that he's a guy that will take the job.
I don't know how you sell this job to an offensive-minded head coach. At least if you're the Raiders, you can point to Mendoza
Fernando?
on the way. The Steelers are hot to trot after McCarthy. He obviously has a connection with Rodgers. Maybe he can talk him back into it, but McCarthy wants that position, so fine. But I mean, if you're the Cardinals, you can at least point to, we have Kyler Murray. He might not be very good, but he's Kyler Murray. We have Trey McBride and Harrison and Wilson broke out. We've got these running backs. You can at least point to offensive pieces. I don't know how you sell this to a guy who is an offensive-minded guy.
But can you sell it in a way of saying, like, you have free range, here's all the pieces, like almost like put the puzzle together yourself?
You actually
create
have
what
to
you want.
if you have legitimate pieces. I mean, they might look at this, say you don't have a quarterback, you don't have any playmakers, and you can sell them on what you're going to do in free agency, and they're going to upgrade. But if you don't have a guy under center, and there's no legitimate path to one, I don't know how you sell it.
You basically have to create from nothing.
Right, but they've been trying to do that for years. I mean, that's how you end up with the four-headed monster they had in camp, and they still don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless the guy loves Shador, whoever it is, whether it's Udinski or Shieldhouse or McCarthy for some reason, or whoever it is, not McCarthy, but McDaniel. For some reason, if they like Shador, or they think they can resurrect the corpse of Deshaun Watson, I don't know how you sell this to any of those guys.
That's why I think it's most attractive to the first-time guy.
That's what I'm saying.
And like you said, if Udinski isn't the guy, Shieldhouse gives him a couple of that. Okay, start the canvas because we got the defense set, and put all the attention on the offense from scratch. Design it, everything. That should be attractive enough for somebody. But I don't know if that's what you want to do as a head coach. If they don't have an offer somewhere else.
What a team to be a part of, huh? What a team to cover, guys.
This is what we've done forever. Here's the other thing. If you're Shieldhouse or Udinski, young, up-and-comer offensive guy, if you're confident enough in yourself, you're going to say a year from now, I'm going to be back in these waters anyway. And maybe there's a team with a better system or a better quarterback or whatever. And I'd let you, especially if you're like Udinski, you've been doing this for 20 minutes. Maybe I want another year in this to like marinate and learn and figure out what I'm doing. I'll go get a better opportunity next year. They might bet on themselves.
But it's interesting because Trevor Lawrence said that Udinski has helped him grow a lot. He's been able to help him see the game differently.
He's unlocked Trevor Lawrence.
Hopefully he's not lying about that. I think he's telling the truth. But if so, I mean, they probably take those type of words from see what he's as a young guy, what he's able to do with someone like, we'll say, go ahead and say a veteran quarterback like Trevor Lawrence.
Yep. I mean, that's high praise, but, that's why people are talking about him. Look what the Jags did. Right, and made Liam Cohen look like a great hire. Who's the next Liam Cohen? Well, the guy Liam Cohen just hired as offensive coordinator. That Lawrence speaks highly of. We all saw the production.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Shieldhouse. Matthew Stafford's 37. He said he might be the MVP, 46 touchdowns, and so I don't know if Shieldhouse unlocked Matthew Stafford.
I didn't know he was locked.
But that's what I'm saying. Oh, guys, a guy like Stafford has a tremendous year, and some new guy gets all the credit, but that's why they get the positions.
What they do.
All right, well, we're going to take a really quick break, and we'll be right back with our true-false question of the week.
Off the Leash continues. True, false question of the week. This is going to be a curveball question, and we're just going to get right to it. True, false, an NFL team, not saying the Cleveland Browns, but an NFL team with a head coach opening should pursue Indiana's Curt Cignetti right now.
Or I think, of course, they want to pursue him. Yeah.
An NFL team should pursue him. You say true.
Oh, should.
Should.
Okay,
An NFL team pursue Curt Cignetti.
Thought we were going with would. Should. Sorry, I know we need to be quick. No, false. I think false. Because I don't think there's any shot they get him anyways. And we've seen time and time again, just because you're a great college coach doesn't mean that translates to the NFL. That's a totally different ballgame. So I go false.
I'll say true because he took a bunch of what people would say, quote unquote, nothings that were like
No,
2
5
stars,
stars,
3
right?
stars,
Yep.
a couple of 4 stars, whatever, and turn them into a national championship team. So why not give him a chance? If you can go give a 30-year-old kid a chance that just turned 30,
Yeah.
I'm sure you could do the same for Cignetti too.
Yeah, I'm saying false just because of the short period of time. It's been great in 2 years, but it's different canvas when it's basically straight up free agency in college with the transfer portal. I think he brought his whole James Madison team last year and then added, 40, 50. He can evaluate talent.
Yeah.
So I think he's ascending for sure.
I love him. Google me.
Google
He's
me.
a hoot. He and Fernando both. I love
He,
watching them.
he's an easy guy to like, unless you are like a Purdue fan or a Notre Dame fan and just have a rivalry with Indiana and don't like them, or if you're a Miami fan and went through it in the time, they're hard not to like. Cignetti's a likable guy. Mendoza is a very likable guy. All that said, I say absolutely false. I have just decided to 100% go forward. If you are a college coach with no NFL experience, I'm going to assume you will be a failure at the NFL. We've seen it too many times now. He has no NFL experience. He has said he doesn't want to go to the NFL. I understand if somebody called and threw a ton of money at him, he might change his mind. But if he doesn't want to go and the track record isn't there, and he's just really getting started at Indiana, I don't feel a team should pursue him now. Ask this again in 2-3 years. Maybe our minds could be changed. But for now, I am just 100% you're going to screw it up and stink if you have no NFL experience. He has no NFL experience. And that just means you could be an NFL assistant. He doesn't have that at all. That's just not that's not where he's come from. I think he's a great story. It's great for Indiana, great for the Big Ten, great for college football. I think he stays right there, and he should stay there for a while.
Well, listen, if he turns around and does the exact same thing with a mediocre roster, then I
don't think they're going to have a mediocre roster
I'm just
anymore.
saying. I mean,
What are
but
they going
if
to say
it's
about
two-
Miami if
if
they
it's
lost
2,
to a
3
mediocre roster?
Hey man, it's the underdogs.
I know.
I mean, they're not. Even though they were put above them, they were still like an underdog team.
Oh,
You get
totally.
what
And
I'm
listen,
saying?
for
And
all-
I, like that, these Fernandos don't just drop out of nowhere.
Here's the thing. Mendoza, people say he was a 2-star. When he was in the transfer portal, he was rated a 4-star transfer. I mean, it's not like he was some total bum when Indiana got him. He was highly thought of. He was a 4-star transfer. His original star rating in high school was not good.
Yeah,
but he
Miami
did well
didn't
in the
even-
portal. Cignetti's done a great job. But these were like 1- and 2-star bums that have not improved
But
that
you
he
don't
came
see
in
a
here.
lot of that without 5-star athletes. is
Correct.
what I'm
And
saying.
that's not to,
win a
to
national
besmirch
championship.
what he's done. I'm just saying, let's get it right. Mendoza
Right.
was a 4-star recruit.
Totally.
Was a 4-star transfer in the portal.
Totally.
So
All right, we're gonna take a really quick break. We got a special guest coming up on the other side of the break. This is Off the Leash. All right, welcome back to Off the Leash. Big news coming out of Atlanta. Kevin Stefanski is now their new head coach, a 5-year deal. This guy was not even unemployed for 2 weeks, and already the Falcons said, this is our guy. Arthur Blank saying this is the guy they think they're going to take him to the next level. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2017. We are going to bring in a friend of the show, first time on here, Atlanta News first sports director Bailey Burmaster. Now, I know that the other people on this show, Mark and Leah, you guys got a relationship with her. Bailey, this is my first time meeting you. So hello, congratulations on your new position. I know you've been there for a little bit, but all right. So Kevin Stefanski, what's your first thoughts that he is now the head coach of the Falcons?
Yeah, listen, hot take probably from me when going through this coaching search in the process. Kevin Stefanski was on my top 3 of coaches they should go get for this team. I think from an offensive mindset, he's a really good fit for where this roster sits. He is a coach that has been with an organization that has no stability. He has dealt with chaos every year in probably every capacity possible. And he's dealt with 13 quarterbacks. So who better to come into a stable organization, although they have not found success and have been mediocre at best? I do feel like a fresh beginning with a front office that believes in him, the right roster, and possibly getting a little bit more say in decisions that he can become the coach that people think he can be and win more games. Because I know it kind of got to the point in Cleveland where it was like, you're just losing too much. But I think the reality is this has the beginning to be a fresh start and the right start for the Atlanta Falcons.
Bailey, I'm curious. I know it's been a small sample size what you guys have seen out of Michael Penix Jr., and he's hopefully expected to be ready to go this season. Kevin Stefanski was brought into Cleveland as this offensive mastermind, praised for his ability to develop young quarterbacks. We never really got to see that happen in Cleveland. So how do you feel like he's going to have success, or if you think he'll have success with a young quarterback in Atlanta?
Yeah, listen, the first order of business is we talked about it on one of our shows yesterday is him figuring out what this quarterback position looks like. For those who may not be too much well aware, Michael Penix went down with another ACL injury. He's injury prone, so this is now his third ACL. Not great for someone who is his age at 26, and he's supposed to be the future of this franchise. He really is, but now he's hurt. The reality is he's probably not going to be ready till September. He misses all of offseason with his team, and there were a lot of narratives that he's not great under center, and this offseason would be the time to utilize that time to help him improve in that area. You don't get that now. Then you have Kirk Cousins, and his salary cap hit this year is a doozy. And the Falcons are really already in hell with their salary cap as it sits. So what do? A lot of people are speculating that they would cut their losses with Kirk Cousins. He's been vocal about, hey, he wants to be here, but is that the right thing? He also wouldn't mind getting a fresh start somewhere. He believes he can still play. And he showed that. He was pretty consistent down the stretch. So will they keep Kirk? Will they not? Who knows? Kevin Stefanski and Kirk go way back to their time with Minnesota. So maybe there's a realm where they keep him. But as far as is Michael Penix the guy in development with Kevin Stefanski, I think it comes down to Stefanski. I think he has to decide whether Penix is his quarterback or not. I think it's only fair when you bring in a new head coach, you give them the tools to be successful and let them make those decisions. So we'll find out in time. But the reality is, whether they keep Kirk or not, they're going to have to go get another quarterback because Penix is not going to be ready for the start of the season. So you have to have a QB too.
Bales, you kind of touched on why the Browns moved on from him here. Even though Stefanski is so well respected, it was, dude, you just lose too much. And that was kind of my problem with it. They always found ways to lose. There isn't a proven quarterback there. I don't believe Kevin Stefanski has a track record of developing quarterbacks. And I don't believe he has a track record of having a team that finds ways to win. That said, why do the Atlanta Falcons think Kevin Stefanski will be the guy to develop a quarterback and find ways to win lots of football games?
It's easy, and it's one person, and his name is Matt Ryan. The restructure of the Atlanta Falcons has been fascinating to watch. They cleaned house. They fired Terry Fontenot as their GM. They got rid of Raheem Morris after 2 years. A lot of people thought he might get a third year, but just kind of like you said for the Browns, there's been too much losing, and there was no accountability. There were some wishy-washy situations that we never got to the end of what really happened. One of them was with the receivers coach, Hilliard, and then you have Ray-Ray McCloud going on social media talking about stuff, and they let him go. So there was just murky stuff that maybe that's the accountability they're talking about that they need from a head coach, which I will say is the one thing. Is Stefanski really a confrontational guy? Doesn't give me those vibes, but maybe he's proven something to Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan. So once they clean house, they kind of say, hey, they used Sportsology, this agency, to help kind of comb through what needed to be better with the organization. And I asked Arthur Blank just that of what found out. And he said, listen, I just think there's like accountability issue that starts at the top. Everyone needs to hold everyone accountable, including coaches, including people in the front office. Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan could not be closer. And Arthur Blank really trusts Matt Ryan. And I think Matt Ryan now becomes that figure that can be communication between the head coach and the GM. And then he relays all of that information to Arthur Blank. And Matt Ryan will report to Arthur Blank. Who makes decisions? Well, guess what? That's murky too. They kind of beat around the bush a little bit. But it sounds like head coach will make head coaching decisions and GM will make GM decisions. They will come together, collab, and report to Matt Ryan. The reality is they interviewed a lot of people, not as many as they did last time, but you had a feeling they were going to go offensive because they went defensive last time around. And this offense really needs to figure itself out because they struggled under offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. So I think Stefanski is someone who's sound, who has dealt with a lot of chaos. But Matt Ryan is going to do his research. He's going to talk a lot to people across the league. He didn't tell us names, but you have to trust he's going to do his due diligence because of how much this Falcons organization means to him. So simply put, I think Matt Ryan found exactly what he liked in Stefanski. And I think you could look, I think this is fair to say, you could look at Stefanski's time with the Browns and say he was never really given a fair shake.
It's funny that you actually bring up accountability, because what some of the players were saying in the locker room the day that they were wrapping up was the fact that they were looking for someone to keep them accountable. So maybe now that he's in a new spot and he's good to go and he's got a new president and he's got a new, ownership, maybe this point he'll feel like he can put that accountability on his players and his staff. All right, Bailey, thank you so much for joining the show. We appreciate you. Hopefully we will be talking to you soon. You guys got anything for your girl?
We love you.
Take care down there, lady. Proud of you and your success.
So we know that Stefanski is now in Atlanta, and there's still 6 teams looking for head coaches, with the Browns being one of them. The Arizona Cardinals, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What were your first thoughts just hearing that the Bills decided to move on from head coach Sean McDermott?
Get him in here if he'll talk to you. I mean, he's immediately the best guy available. Right? Just like when Harbaugh quit, he was immediately, or got fired, he was immediately the top guy at the list. McDermott should be at the top of about everybody's list.
Can the Browns get him?
Yeah,
See,
probably not. But
and the Bills that becomes the hottest job right now too. So that's another thing we've been talking about. The Browns having to wait, right? See kind of how everything plays off, because they're not in the top even half, I would say, of like attractive jobs right now in the league. So that's another one. Like a lot of their top people could be looking for that. I also thought it was interesting too that Bill Callahan is now joining Kevin Stefanski down there. So people kind of, and you may have more to say about that, Fred, but people kind of brought up, does that question, was he going to Tennessee just for his son, or was it maybe to get out of Cleveland? Because it seems like he has a great.
he was going there for his kid.
Kevin Stefanski, but 100%. Do you think any part of him was sick of the organization and wanted to change?
Yeah, I do. I do believe him when they said they let him out of his contract so he could go join his son. I mean, that would be pretty heartless if you didn't. So I do think that he liked being with Stefanski here, and I think it was a once in a lifetime to join his son down with Tennessee. It didn't work out. They part ways. I thought maybe they'd bring him back to Cleveland if Stefanski stayed, but on to Atlanta, and that's what's interesting. You think about this now, this is crazy. 1/3 of the NFL turned over their coaches, 10 out of 32.
They said Vrabel's the longest tenured coach essentially in the AFC North right now. AFC East.
Zach Taylor,
yeah.
And Zach Taylor's the last man standing in the North.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's crazy. But look, this is a sport that wants some type of production out of it. And right now, it seems like it's just straight wins or losses. I don't even know how much teams really care that much about development. And I feel like the development only matters to get to the wins.
Well, you're going right up the ladder. I mean, you thought Harbaugh and Tomlin, and then McDermott goes to the doorstep, and it's not good enough. It's kind of reminds me of what Marty Schottenheimer when he got fired after going 16-1 that one year.
You went 15-1 with the Chargers, got canned, never got another job again. That is stunning.
Too much. All right, so the coaching carousel just continues. The Browns will be going into week 3 next week. We'll be right here to break it all down. Make sure you get your this episode wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, which could be anything in these days. And make sure you stream us on 19 News Plus as well. For myself, Leah Doherty, Mark Schwab, and Fred Greetham, this is Off the Leash.